The Nintendo Entertainment System is one of the most iconic video game consoles in history. It has some of the best games ever made, some of the worst games ever made, definitely some of the most iconic games ever made. But it also has some of the weirdest games ever made. So ladies and gentlemen, today on Stuff We Play, we're going to be looking at 3 of the weirdest Nintendo Entertainment System games to ever be released. So who here has played Dig Dug? It's a simple game where you play as a little man with a little hose-like things, and then you dig underground and try to get treasure and blow up your enemies. Like with any popular games, there will be knockoffs. And that's where we get to this. This is Hotman no Hotman. Hotman for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or Famicom to be exact. Yes, as sexy as this cartridge looks, this is actually a reproduction cartridge of a game that never left Japan. So come on, let's give Hotman a try and see if it's a hidden gem from overseas or if it just should have been left there. Huh. A 6 feet under Nintendo Mafia translation. A 6 feet under Nintendo Mafia translation. It immediately has parallels to Dig Dug. You play as a little guy digging through sand, except instead of using a hose to blow up enemies, you have a gun. And let me tell you, these enemies are all really iconic though. You have scorpion thing, you have green blobs, I don't even know what the hell that thing is. And it's simple, unlike in Dig Dug where it's a high score game, this game takes place on multiple screens and you're just going and, well actually it's not very clear. There are these little caves that you go into that just warp you randomly. And there's no sign of where you're gonna end up once you go through one, so it's always a little bit of a crapshoot. And then you start collecting these keys. There's several keys in every level, and once you collect every single key in the stage, a randomly generated warp point appears, which takes you to the next level. This game ain't as good as Dig Dug though. It's actually quite cheap. Sometimes I get killed by an enemy that's shooting a projectile at me just because it off-screened me. What the hell, man? That's not fair. So I went through and got past the first level and then got to the second level where I promptly turned this game off. Yeah, it's not a very good game, but my god is it weird. Seriously, I'm just looking at it. 6 feet on, what? Is it because you're underneath the ground? Is this game deeper than that? Is it deeper than just a really weird Dig Dug clone? Is this what happens to your soul when you die? So no, you should not give this game a shot. And speaking of shots, I need some shots to help me forget this. So, for the next game on our list, my good friend TheRetroCanadian is going to tell you about his pick for the weirdest game on the NES.
So how's it going guys, TheRetroCanadian here. The game I chose for weirdest NES game in my opinion was Zombie Nation on the NES. So without further ado, let's take a look. Despite its high price tag, Zombie Nation on the NES might be one of the weirdest and most interesting games of the 8-bit era. Zombie Nation is a side-scrolling bullet hell shooter for the NES that lets you fire missiles to demolish buildings, tanks, planes, and otherwise whatever you desire. So what are you controlling in this game, you might ask? A plane? A super futuristic spaceship? Nope, you're controlling a giant head. Yeah, you heard me right. You're controlling the head of some chubby Asian guy, who I guess is spitting at his enemies? Makes sense. I really want to know who was in charge of this game, and who thought it'd be appealing to consumers to play as a floating head. And on that note, where do the zombies fit in? It's really anybody's guess. Is it the army trying to take you down? Are your enemies really zombies? Who knows? The sound in the game is on point for a game of the time, with a soundtrack that's, dare I say, not too bad. From time to time in the game you'll see a flying body, and if you catch them it'll increase your firepower. And to be honest, that's the only point in the game I found that was pretty awesome. The amount of destruction you can employ on this 8-bit city is really up to you. Like most games of the time, Zombie Nation struggles to keep up, and the large sprite of the main character will often flicker as a consequence of that. The graphics in the game, specifically the city and the skylines, all look really good for an NES title, with colors that are bright and appealing. I would only recommend this game to die-hard shooter fans because the game is very unforgiving. You get one life and only one. If you're a noob, you'll find yourself staring at this screen over and over again, even after just a few moments of playing. Even with the 2 difficulty levels provided, you might get a bit of fun out of the 4 playable stages, but is the game really worth the around $300 that it goes for? Definitely not. There's better options on the NES for far less steep of a price tag that you should check out.
So you see, just because a game's weird doesn't mean it has to be bad. But the weirdest games are ones that you aren't even sure if you can consider it a game. Like Taboo, The Sixth Sense. Now, this game interests me. Sure, it was published by Trade West, but it was actually developed by Rare. Yeah, this was in the weird part of Rare's history where they'd given up on developing for the ZX Spectrum under the Ultimate Play the Game label, but before they had really gotten stuff down making things for consoles instead of old PCs. They were very hit or miss during this age, and it makes you wonder, why the hell did they think this was a good idea? Taboo the Sixth Sense is a tarot card reading simulator. It's supposed to tell you your fortune. So you start up the game and you're actually greeted to a pretty nice soundtrack. I would be lying if I said I didn't quite like the soundtrack of this game. So you start the game, if you would call this a game, and you put in some stuff such as your birthday, your name, your gender, and then it has you put in a question you want to ask. I don't know, what is the meaning of life? So after you've input all your info, the game starts drawing your cards, and alright, what's that? Alright, so that card, okay. Oh, and that's my final card, alright, and, oh, okay. Well, I'm confused. Are you seriously telling me that's it? It's just back to the title screen? And this game has no substance whatsoever. The psychic readings and stuff, that's not my forte. And if it's not your forte, well then I don't think this is the game for you. What's weird though is when you look at the marketing for this game. They marketed this as a party game. Yeah, let's get some beers and then have our fortunes told in an amazingly cryptic way. What good things can I say about this game? Well, I said the music's really good. It's a part of early Rare history if you're into Rare collecting. Though I'm not sure it's on the Rare Replay for the Xbox One. I paid $5 for my copy of this game, so yes, it is very cheap and easy to find. But most surprisingly, and this is something I don't think anyone's done with this game, this thing's creepypasta material. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to give a big thank you to TheRetroCanadian for helping me out. Please check him out if you get the chance. And if you're on VidMe, remember to follow or upvote this. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe if you're so inclined. Remember to please leave any suggestions for future videos in the comments below. If you'd like to see me cover more weird, strange games, well, I'm always up for that. Just tell me. So with that, have a very nice evening, day, or whatever, ladies and gentlemen.